Hello, and how are you doing today? Today I have Diane Bergsma, who is the founder of Three Oaks Cabins, and she has an amazing story that goes along with Talk to Me, Johnny. Diane, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, I'm grateful to be here.
Now, it's never easy to talk about how family members and stuff take their lives, but what I'm finding so inspirational about Operation Talk to Me, Johnny, and your guys' story is that you're building a safety net for other people so that other families don't have to go through that same experience. Can you please tell us about the Three Oaks Cabin?
I guess there's no way to tell you about Three Oaks Cabin without telling you the backstory first. Al and I did 15 years in the military, and in 1995 we were ready to come back to the family farm. We have 7 children. Our third son's name was Dallas, and his nickname was Whippersnapper, and it suited him very well because he was always busy. He was always in the barn and in the shop. From the time he could pull on his own boots, he was gone out of the house. And for his 6th birthday, he got 6 laying hens. And from that day on, he considered himself to be a businessman. And he did it well. He sold eggs to every feed and seed salesman that drove in the laneway. He took them to church to sell them there. And with his hen money, he started buying small pieces of equipment. And that ended up being bigger pieces of equipment. And he made enough profits that on his 18th birthday, he could buy his own farm with his own money. So he had a great start because he had great work ethic and endless energy and endless hope. And he married his high school sweetheart shortly out of high school. And yeah, they settled on their first little farm, but they soon bought more property and more land. And in 2018, they added on to their hog production with a 2,400 head finishing barn. And we followed suit in 2019 with a similar barn of 2,400 head. Dallas also joined the Diane Fire Department in that time, and he was a much beloved brother there as well. Dallas was the kind of guy that had a lot of grit and endless time for people who needed him. He was the go-to guy in our family. He was the go-to guy in the fire department, or at the fire department, and also in his church. They were youth leaders, a salt of the earth kind of guy that everybody respected and everybody loved being around and everybody needed around. And while we were expanding and working on the farm and really with this vision to have a succession plan in place that Dallas could take over the farm eventually, that was the goal of all our busyness of those last 5 years that he was with us. But while we were expanding and doing all the things on the farm that farmers do, and they were extremely busy years with all the expansions going on, we didn't see, nor did we have the tools or the knowledge to see the incremental mountain of stress that was bearing down on his shoulders. The stress from being a young farmer with a huge debt load, the insecurities that come with being on a farm, and also the trauma that he experienced on the Dawn Euphemia Fire Department. And so without seeing those things and without him getting help or us providing help, on November 23rd, 2020, our son couldn't see his way out and he left us by suicide. And he was like the bright light in our family. I think I have not heard one person, and so many people knew him, but everybody was blindsided. There was no hint of, this is where I'm really at. And so in the aftermath of losing him, we were crushed as a family, loss of a son and loss of a brother, loss of a best friend, a business partner, and our farming dream. There was just so many layers of loss. But we did find out the statistics that many farmers and first responders suffer in silence with mental instability or mental fatigue, just a wearing down of the resilience that healthy people have access to. And we wanted to find a way to come alongside people who are suffering in this way, especially in those two communities, because when we whittle it down, they are the people that feed us and they are the people that keep our communities safe. And it comes often at a very high cost to them and to their families. And so we wanted to concentrate on giving back to them, honoring what they do, and appreciating what they do in a way that respects who they are as people and who they are as community partners. And so we built a log home in our woodlot. It's called Three Oaks Cabin. It's a 3-bedroom log home. And initially our dream was to just build it, and that we would build it and supply it and like make it available to people. But as the news got out in the community that we were taking this project on, we had so many offers of assistance from builders and all kinds of construction partners, and just donations and fundraisers, that when we were all said and done, the building was up and finished, we had a sizable amount of money left, enough that we dared to take on a partnership with the National Farmers Mental Health Alliance to provide mental wellness check-ins and also mental health therapy for our guests while they're at the cabin and as a follow-up care when they go home.
That's awesome. I mean, I've just been looking at some of the pictures in there, and it just feels calming, right? Like there's something about the way it looks and the natural look and just some of the property around it. Like you're onto something, and it's really inspiring to see, right? Like that, just taking the tragedy and being able to go with it in this positive direction where now it's starting to expand more. And, people don't really realize like the impact farmers have and the stress they have, and that it's not an easy thing to do, especially with some of the bureaucracy that goes on with being able to provide other people meals on, their plates. And then same thing with like our first responders and stuff. And there's a lot of that grit and determination and stoicism that just those people in those communities have, where they don't want to seem like there's a weakness or there's a chink, and they'll keep that armor up. And I think as we're starting to learn, like we got to build these communities where it's okay to go to people, go like, hey, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. Whether there was a bad crop or I saw a bad accident or something where the events are just out of your control. And now you have to deal with something that, sometimes it's a horrible situation that they had to see. And as a community, as just people, we're not sometimes the best at getting those feelings out there early on before it just kind of boils over. And I just see so much with what you're doing right now that it just kind of really inspires me to be able to do stuff to help you guys too, to get word out and stuff like that. So
I think you hit the nail on the head with these layers of trauma and stress, right? If something is unresolved, it sits there. And I often refer to it as a backpack, and we stuff things in there because we can't deal with it today, or it's too hurtful, or it brings up pain that we just can't bear to face. We leave it in there, we drag it around, we get used to dragging it around, but eventually the backpack gets full, or we get so tired of carrying it around. And the day will come when an extra burden gets added in. It doesn't have to be a huge burden. It can be a straw that breaks the camel's back, but it will come, and the camel will either break his back or the backpack falls on the ground and everything spews out, and it's uncontrolled. We can't that day collect it all and make it somehow cohesive. It just spills out. And I guess that's what we're trying to prevent. So if we deal with, and our message to people is, if you schedule in and plan for regular rest, because we're not machines, and even machines need regular maintenance, but if we schedule in that time of recuperation and rejuvenation and just reorient around what we believe is important, then we are better equipped to be a good farmer husband or a good farmer wife. We are better equipped to be the compassionate first responder at work and at home. We can't pour out from an empty jug, and that's our message to people. Like it's honorable to unselfishly take care of ourselves so that unselfishly we can take care of other people.
And that is the truth sometimes, where you you try and keep, I mean, that backpack, that's an awesome analogy, right? And if you take care of yourself and you're doing that stuff, then your backpack looks great. The straps are there and stuff. But when you don't, it starts wearing and you start seeing the objects inside the bag because the holes are poking through and stuff like that. And that was actually just a very awesome, powerful kind of visual that I could be like, I get that. That is so good to be able to explain to people and stuff like that and that metaphor. And from what you have now with Three Oaks, what are some of the next steps that you want to kind of get to keep expanding out this outreach?
Well, this year's goal is definitely to make the trails in the woodlot more interactive. So the cabin's built in a 50-acre woodlot, and 2 years ago, with some very generous donations, we were able to put in some very nice trails. And so far we have got a wind phone on there, and I would love to chat to you about the wind phone. It's pretty cool. But we would like to make it more organically interactive. So if there are some workout stations that use organic material, like just a pulley in the tree with some pull downs or some weight sets that use pieces of log, to make it still that woodlot feeling and that you're out in nature, but yet you could have opportunity to do a workout, or that there are music stations or like things that would decompress people and appealing to different personalities. So not everybody's a workout kind of person. So maybe another person wants to like design something or make a station with music or art or leave a note behind or something like that. So we would love to do research and make them interactive so that everybody finds little outlets and practices little outlets at the cabin that they could possibly take home and redo, or breathing exercises, things like that.
I think that is so cool. Like you're going down the trail and you're like, hey, here's some art supplies. Oh, look, that scene. I'm going to paint that. You go down another way. Hey, look, I can work out while using this cool nature built as the machinery and stuff like that. I think you're on to something so awesome there. Like as you were describing that, it's just like, wow, like that is something so cool that you can start finding different people's things. And then as people start then creating and adding to the trails, whether it's people painting a rock that they found and doing that, and that inspiring other people to put something on rocks. And as you go down different trails, stuff like it, yeah, there's something just so inspiring about these things where there's a natural gap within either the provincial healthcare or something like that, that individuals and groups find these ways to go, okay, people need this. It's going to take too long for the red tape bureaucracy. You know what? We can start building it. And then you find that the community outreach to help you build that goal and stuff and get the cabin built and stuff is done. And then allowing these things, like there's this awesome synergy that I'm just kind of feeling where it's like, this is going to help so many different people, and the way that they can kind of reach that healing can interact with them in so many various ways depending on what they see along the trails.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea of the peer-to-peer, we've had workshops at the cabin too, so it has a loft upstairs that it can either be a workout place for guests, or I can take all this stuff out and put tables and chairs up. And so we've had several fire departments out that do a debriefing at the cabin, or farm groups who do a meeting at the cabin. And that part has worked really well too, kind of set the stage for a different environment, especially for the first responders. If it's not the yellow therapist's room, but rather it's out in nature and it's very calming. We've got good reviews about that too. And then when guests go home, especially in the farming and first responder world where everybody keeps a stiff upper lip and it's a self-imposed requirement. But if from one person who is made of the fabric that I'm fine, what can I do for you? If from that person to the next one who is wired the same, they say, hey, I went to this place and it was actually good for me. There was no stress. There was no pressure to do anything. I got to participate in the things that meant something to me. And I left the other stuff alone. But I went home refreshed, and I have some new tools in my toolbox to stay well, or at least to recognize when I'm not doing well. Those kind of interactions from peer to peer are a lot more powerful than if I go to a microphone and yammer about them how they need to take a break. So in that part, we're very excited seeing that some groups, like you'll see a first responder or a farmer come from a certain area, and then all of a sudden there's like 10 or so people that sign up from that area. So there's obviously good feedback, and then say, okay, I'm going to try it too. So that's very encouraging.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, certain groups, they are just stubborn like that. And you can't be like, what are your feelings? What are you feeling? Not trick, but almost kind of show them something else and be like, hey, look, this is also mental health, stuff like that. Look, you can relax these things. And I think sometimes when you get somebody that interacts with that and then they can help break that ice with other people, they go, look, what we had to deal with was pretty stressful. I use this, maybe this will help you. And something as simple as that, right? It doesn't have to be like, hey, whatever. And then they go, you know what? I needed this. And it's just that spring ball thing of, as more people discover these things and go, you know what? This was an easy way for me to look after my mental health.
Yeah.
It then makes it easier for that conversation to happen and stuff like, and you're an amazing rung in that ladder of getting people out of whatever hole they might be in to seeing what their next steps are to plan out, okay, this is where I am. What do I have to do? Whether it's, mental health, so maybe something with the job, and that's being just unhappy with their career choice. And that's the stress that's building up and everything, or whatever it is. Like sometimes you just need that little bit of that break to go, oh, okay. I have an idea. I have an idea what the next step is going to be. And if that one doesn't work, then there's this plan and this plan. I've at least thought of some of my next steps. So
yeah. It allows you to zoom out, I think, and take a little bit of a broader spectrum of your life. And I think sometimes when we take that a broader view, think, wait a second, I've been going down a rabbit hole, or I've been tunnel visioned. This isn't actually who I am, or what I want, or what I desire for my family or for my friends. So yeah, I think just that little time away allows you to refocus. And we're coming up to our second anniversary of having opened our doors. And at the end, we've got a meeting scheduled with our therapists in May to review our second year. But I do want to share with you that at our first year anniversary, she gave us some stats about how effective the cabin had been towards our goal of helping people. And she said that 80% of the people were taking the free hour of therapy after they go home. So therapists called them and they check in on them and just a wellness check, but they also have the opportunity to use a session of free therapy. So 80% of them were using that hour of free therapy. And then I thought the really cool stats was that 60% of those guests indicated that they would have never picked up the phone and initiated a conversation with a therapist. So now we're opening that conversation without it being threatening. It's just a welcoming conversation, and they can choose to participate or they can not do, but they have the opportunity without it being daunting or threatening. And the very bittersweet statistics that we learned last year was that in our first year of operation, there were 3 guests, at least, she said, and I have no idea who these people are. Like, I don't see the guests really unless they invite us to come. I know their names just so that if there's an emergency, we know how many people to account for. But other than that, I don't know anything about them. But it was very encouraging and very sad at the same time to learn that there was 3 guests in that first year who had attended the cabin and had received follow-up care, that in the expert opinion of the therapist, that had they not had intervention at the cabin or somewhere else, that they likely would not be with us today. And so that really hit home. It's like we are making tangible difference in the lives of the people who keep us safe and who put food on our table. And that was our goal.
That's amazing. And that's an amazing conversion rate. I mean, many businesses would love to have that 80%, and then 60% would have never done that. That is so awesome. And like you said, you're seeing it right there. What you're doing is making a difference, and a very powerful difference to those that put food on our plates and keep us safe at night. So that, wow, thank you for being able to give those people that opportunity.
And I really stress to them, I used to say we want to help people. And over time, I thought, that's not really the right word. We want to honor them. We want to honor them for what they contribute. And I think that hits a lot better nerves, or a lot more, it got the message out a lot more, or across a lot more of what is in our heart and on our heart, rather than helping people. I think honoring them is a much better word.
I love that word. So I'm going to start switching that. That is, oh, that, like, again, like this just, it makes me feel so good, right? Like that, there's just individuals like you that go, you know what? We're going to take our hurt and make it into something powerful for the community and just to uplift Canada. Like it is like, oh, it's just awesome. Thank you so much. And then
We really do live in the best country in the world. We really do. And I think we have to capitalize on it more. And we have to maybe recapture some of the essence of being Canadian, which means you're generous, you're giving, but not a pushover by any means. You're just a strong individual who's very generous. And maybe we've lost some of that, but it's absolutely possible to recoup that down-to-earth, multicultural blending of society. That's what makes Canada great. And yeah, we just want to love people well.
Well, and I think you've hit it right on the head of that. I mean, when you look at Canadians, most of the world are like, they're people that help. They say sorry when they bumped into the Canadian, right? And the Canadians, oh, I'm sorry. So, like, we have that in us of just being very generous. You know, we don't have that. I mean, again, there are selfish Canadians, but as a collective whole, we like to help. We like to make sure that everyone else is helped, right? And, you know, it's not a bad thing to have is what part of our cultural identity is. I mean, there's many people in the Netherlands and stuff like that that love the fact of what Canadians will do for each other, but then other people too, that there's no true, oh, we have to help them, but we choose to help them because it is what Canadians just kind of do in general, right? We like to help, right? Created peacekeeping.
Yes, and I am of Dutch descent, and my grandparents were liberated by the Canadians, and maybe that's part of my, I was born in the Netherlands, but I identify as a Canadian 100%. My roots are there, but my life is here. And I guess in some sense, it's my way of giving back to Canadians as well, right? There would be no Netherlands if it weren't for the Canadians. So yeah, thank you, Canada.
Please drop all your contact information where everyone can find you and follow and support you.
Yeah, so our website is called Three Oaks Cabin. So the letters three, the word Three Oaks Cabin, and guests can just sign up to use the cabin. If you're a farmer or a first responder, there's a tab on there that says book now, and there is a wellness questionnaire that our guests go through before they can actually finish the booking, and that is to ensure safety for our guests. If they choose to come alone, we want to make sure that they are in a position, in a spot where they will be safe, and that is actually something, if the isolation at the cabin is good for them. So that all goes to the therapist, and they intervene or they intercept if it's not a good time for them to come, and then we rearrange around therapy when they can attend the cabin. Yeah, other than that, everything is on our website. Our email address, our contact phone numbers, everything is on the website, very easily accessible.
Diane, thank you so much for doing this, and I can't wait to see where you go in the future.
Well, thank you. And yeah, just for everybody out there, this is your personal invitation to come. It's the more people that use the cabin and the more people that come out refreshed, the more our ashes are turned into hope, and that's our healing. And so it's a win-win.
Exactly. And if anybody out there, you or someone you know needs that help, please give them the information for any of the contacts that they need. If they're local within the area, send them to Three Oaks Way, and let's just make, mental health less of a stigma for Canadians to deal with.
Yeah, and I think just tapping into that, our mental wellness should be viewed as naturally, or taking care of our mental wellness as naturally as we do for our physical health. If you have a broken arm, nobody thinks oddly that you go to a doctor and have it set. So our brain is like the mastermind of our body, so it needs to have extra care. So everybody out there, just reach out if you are suffering. You're not alone, and please don't live in isolation with pain.
All right. Thank you very much to everyone. Have a great day. Be safe. Get back up.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.